There's a moment somewhere between your thoughts and reality where everything you believe about manifesting quietly breaks apart. It's not in the shouting affirmations. It's not in endlessly repeating, "I am abundant." And it's definitely not in waiting for the universe to suddenly hand you everything you want like a magic vending machine. The truth is quieter, subtler, and when you finally see it, everything changes. Most people never get there, not because they aren't spiritual enough or because their dreams are too big, but because they've been taught to look in the wrong direction. They've been taught that manifestation is about wanting hard enough, wishing strong enough, or aligning perfectly with some hidden cosmic checklist. But the real power is not in the wanting. It's in something far simpler, so simple that it almost feels like a trick of perception. Think of your thoughts like ripples on the surface of a vast ocean. Most people focus on the ripples. They chase them, try to control them, try to make bigger and better ripples, hoping reality will finally respond. But the ripples aren't where creation happens. The creation happens in the still water beneath. Quantum manifestation is not about forcing reality to comply with your wishes. It's about aligning yourself with the underlying field that reality is born from. That field responds not to the noise of your mind, but to the quiet clarity beneath it. And when you learn to access that clarity, reality seems to start moving toward you instead of you endlessly running after it. This is where the old law of attraction ideas miss the mark. People try to think positive thoughts while carrying silent resistance in their bodies. They visualize outcomes while doubting their worth. They say affirmations but feel lack underneath every word. The universe doesn't respond to the surface. It responds to your baseline signal. And that signal is not what you think, it's what you are. Every emotion you feel, every subtle sensation you carry, is a broadcast into the quantum field, telling it exactly what reality to reflect back to you. The truth is, manifestation isn't something you do. It's something that happens as a natural byproduct of what you embody. Imagine standing in front of a mirror and trying to make the reflection smile while you frown. It doesn't work. You have to change the expression first. Reality is the same. It is a mirror, not a vending machine. And most people, without realizing it, spend their lives demanding the reflection change without ever softening the expression they hold. Here's the deeper layer. The quantum field doesn't care about your goals the way your mind does. It doesn't care if you want a car, a house, a relationship, or $1 million. It only reflects frequency. So if you hold the frequency of fear, even while chanting, "I am abundant," fear is what the field organizes around. If you hold the frequency of lack while hoping for love, lack is what forms. This is not punishment, it's precision. The universe is far more elegant than we give it credit for. It mirrors back exactly what's at your core, not what you pretend to believe on the surface. And that's why people get frustrated. They think they're doing everything right. They've made the vision board, they've read the books, they've listened to hours of manifestation talks. But beneath all of that, they're carrying an unspoken belief that says, "It won't work for me." That belief is the actual signal, and the quantum field listens. Now, here's where the simple truth begins to unfold. Manifestation isn't about adding more layers of belief. It's about peeling away the noise until your natural state becomes clear. When you're not trying to force reality, your signal stabilizes. The ocean stops thrashing, the ripples settle, and what emerges is a clean, coherent frequency that reality can easily organize around. Consider how the best moments in life actually happen. The person who meets the love of their life wasn't usually forcing it. They were often at ease, living fully, not clutching at the outcome. The person who lands the perfect opportunity often wasn't gripping in desperation. They were in motion, aligned, open. The field responds to openness. It bends around certainty, not longing. The mind wants control, it wants steps, it wants guarantees. But the quantum field is not linear. It doesn't obey time the way your logical brain does. It responds to resonance. The moment you stop pushing, the moment you allow, something remarkable starts happening. The reality around you begins to reorder itself in ways your mind could never have strategized. People appear. Opportunities click into place. Paths you didn't even know existed start revealing themselves, one after the other. Most people never see this because they never get past the wanting. Wanting is a frequency of lack. It tells the field, "I don't have." And the field obliges, creating more of, "I don't have." This is the loop people get stuck in for years. The harder they want, the more lack they feel. The more lack they feel, the stronger the signal becomes. And reality, precise and neutral, mirrors it perfectly. But when wanting dissolves, when you return to the simple, centered truth of what you already are, the frequency shifts entirely. And that shift is not something you have to fake. It's not about acting as if. It's about being the state. Think of someone who has already arrived, who already knows their worth. They don't beg the mirror to smile back. They just smile and it does. Manifestation at its purest is the same principle. The simple truth that changes everything is this: reality is not listening to your wishes. It's listening to your being. When you change your state, the field shifts automatically. There's no begging, no convincing, no waiting endlessly for the stars to align. You are the alignment. That's what most people miss. And here's a powerful way to feel it right now. Close your eyes for a moment and think of something you deeply desire. Notice the sensation in your body when you think about not having it. That tightness, that subtle ache, that's the broadcast. Now, shift. Instead of chasing it, feel what it would be like if it were already done. Let your shoulders drop. Let your breath deepen. Let your heart quiet. That shift right there is the signal that changes everything. When your body aligns with the reality you desire, the field has no choice but to reflect it. The key is not to chase the feeling occasionally. The key is to live in that frequency, to stabilize it so deeply that it becomes your default. And from that place, manifestation is not something you force. It's something that unfolds naturally, like a mirror reflecting your steady gaze. This is the beginning, the doorway. The moment where the old story of trying to manifest falls away and something far more elegant begins to rise. Once you understand this foundation, every technique, every visualization, every affirmation suddenly has context. They stop being desperate attempts to control reality and start being gentle expressions of your natural state. And that is when the game changes completely. Once you understand that reality mirrors your state instead of your surface desires, the entire way you approach manifestation begins to transform. Suddenly, all the complicated rituals and endless affirmations that once felt so heavy begin to lose their grip. You no longer need to bargain with the universe or convince it that you're worthy. You start to see that the universe was never withholding anything from you in the first place. It was simply waiting for you to stop broadcasting static and start transmitting a clear, steady frequency. This is where quantum manifestation steps out of the realm of wishful thinking and into the realm of precision. It's not about believing harder. It's about tuning more deeply. Think of a radio station. If you're one notch off, the sound is fuzzy. You might hear bits of the music, but it's distorted, unclear. That's what most people's manifestations sound like to the field. A mixture of longing and doubt, desire and fear. One moment they feel confident, the next they're questioning everything. They're not bad at manifesting. They're just out of tune. And here's the beauty: tuning isn't about forcing the signal louder. It's about fine adjustments. 1 degree of inner shift can change everything. Many people misunderstand alignment. They think it means they have to be perfectly happy, positive, or enlightened all the time. But alignment isn't about pretending to be what you're not. It's about becoming congruent. Congruence is when your thoughts, emotions, energy, and actions are pointing in the same direction, not fighting each other. Not one part saying, "I want it," while another whispers, "I don't deserve it." When you reach that inner agreement, the frequency becomes clean. The field can finally hear you clearly, and reality responds with remarkable precision. But how do you get there? How do you move from noise to clarity? It begins with awareness. Most people never stop to actually feel what they're broadcasting. They think they're asking for abundance, but their entire nervous system is vibrating with scarcity. They think they're calling in love, but deep down they're bracing for rejection. Awareness is the first shift. You can't change a signal you're not aware of. Sit in stillness and ask yourself, not from the head but from the body, what am I truly feeling about what I want? Where in my body do I feel contraction when I imagine receiving it? Where do I feel expansion? This is the language of the quantum field, not words, not affirmations, sensation, energy, coherence. The quantum field doesn't respond to what you say, it responds to what you are. So the next step is emotional coherence. When your emotions and your desires align, the frequency stabilizes. It's like striking a perfect chord on a guitar. Everything resonates. This is why people who are deeply embodied in a sense of certainty seem to manifest with ease. They're not trying to convince the field. They're simply resonating with the reality they desire. But here's something even more profound. You don't manifest by reaching for the future. You manifest by embodying the frequency of the now in which that future already exists. In quantum terms, all possibilities exist simultaneously. Infinite timelines are already woven into the fabric of the field. The version of you who already has what you desire isn't waiting to be created. It already exists. Your job is to become energetically indistinguishable from that version of you. When you match that frequency, reality reorganizes to reflect it. This is not about fake it till you make it. It's about remembering. It's about stepping into the version of yourself that already knows. Imagine if the thing you want was already yours, not in some distant future but right now. How would you walk into a room? How would you breathe? How would your nervous system feel if there was nothing to chase? That is the frequency. That is the signal. And when that becomes your default, manifestation becomes less like a chase and more like gravity. Things begin to orbit around you naturally. Let's look at this through a more tangible lens. Imagine two people applying for the same opportunity. One walks in with subtle doubt clinging to their every gesture, rehearsing every word, terrified of not being chosen. The other walks in already feeling chosen not from arrogance, but from a grounded sense of I belong here. The second person isn't necessarily more talented, but their frequency is clean, and clean frequencies are magnetic. This magnetism isn't mystical, it's physics. Coherent energy fields draw in matching patterns. When your energy field is chaotic, opportunities scatter. When your field is coherent, opportunities converge. This is why people often say, when I stopped trying so hard, everything started working. It's not coincidence. It's the nature of resonance, but resonance requires trust. Not blind forced trust, but a trust built from direct experience. This is where many people struggle. They try to trust while still gripping tightly to control. True trust is a letting go, not of action, but of resistance. You can still take steps. You can still pursue what you love, but you're no longer trying to drag reality behind you with a rope. You're walking with it. You're in rhythm with the field, and that's where flow begins. Flow isn't some magical state reserved for the lucky few. It's the natural result of being in harmony with your signal. When your signal is clean, life stops feeling like a fight. The right people seem to appear at the right time. The obstacles that once felt immovable either dissolve or reveal new paths through them. Manifestation is no longer about getting what you want. It becomes about aligning with what's already aligned with you. Here's the paradox. The moment you no longer need to prove anything to the universe is often the moment it floods you with proof. Because neediness is resistance in disguise, and the field doesn't respond to resistance with reward. It mirrors it back with delay, confusion, or static. But when you drop the grip, when you breathe into the quiet center of certainty, reality has room to move. Think of the last time something truly beautiful happened in your life. Chances are you weren't micromanaging it. You weren't anxiously counting the seconds. You were in flow, maybe even unaware of how perfectly everything was aligning. That's how quantum manifestation really works. It's less about control and more about participation. Less about trying to pull reality toward you, more about letting reality reveal itself through you. One of the most powerful practices to stabilize this frequency is something deceptively simple: presence. When you are fully present, not lost in the past or future, your signal strengthens. It's like clearing dust off a lens. The field doesn't respond to future fantasies or past fears. It responds to the now, and the now is where your power lives. This is why people who practice deep presence often experience synchronicities. They're not doing more, they're broadcasting clearly. And because their broadcast is steady, reality echoes back with precision. Life starts to feel less like pushing a boulder uphill and more like watching a river carry you effortlessly forward. What changes everything is not wishing harder, believing more, or shouting louder into the void. It's becoming still enough inside that your signal becomes undeniable. And once that happens, the quantum field doesn't have to be convinced. It simply responds. The deeper you go into this, the more you realize that quantum manifestation isn't about learning some new trick. It's about unlearning everything that kept you out of alignment in the first place. It's about peeling back the layers of noise that made you believe the power was somewhere outside of you. The field doesn't need convincing. It doesn't need proof. It simply reflects who you're being. And the more steadily you embody that state, the faster reality aligns with it. Many people try to do manifestation as a technique. They set goals, say affirmations, visualize, script, or repeat mantras. But beneath it all, they're trying to change something outside themselves while remaining the same inside. And that's why their results feel inconsistent. They're polishing the surface of the mirror instead of shifting the expression reflected in it. When you truly understand that reality mirrors your internal state, the effort changes direction. You stop pushing outward and start cultivating inward. You begin to see that your most powerful manifestation work happens not in the outer world, but in the quiet spaces no one else can see. This is the great paradox: the less you try to force, the more reality bends. That doesn't mean passivity. It means moving from a place of inner congruence instead of inner chaos. When your frequency is clean, your actions don't need to be frantic. They become precise, efficient, elegant. The right words seem to flow at the right time. Doors you once thought were locked suddenly swing open. Opportunities that used to require force seem to land softly in your path. To understand this fully, you have to step out of the mindset of chasing. Chasing is the language of lack. When you chase something, you're broadcasting, "It's not here." The field listens and reflects exactly that. But when you embody having, when your nervous system settles into the feeling of, "I already am," you don't have to chase, you attract, and not through some mystical trick, but through the fundamental laws of resonance. Think of a magnet. It doesn't chase metal shavings around the table. It simply holds its frequency, and everything that matches it is drawn in. That's how quantum manifestation works. When you finally stop trying so hard to control everything, you hold the frequency, and reality reorganizes around you. But embodiment isn't just a nice concept. It's a living practice. It's something you breathe into, something you return to moment by moment. Every time fear whispers, every time doubt creeps in, every time the old narrative tries to convince you that you have to earn or beg for what's already yours, you come back, you breathe, you settle. You return to the version of yourself who already knows. This is not about blind faith. It's about becoming so internally aligned that external reality has no choice but to echo it back. You've probably experienced glimpses of this before. Those moments when you stopped worrying for just a second, when you felt inexplicably calm about something you once obsessed over. And in that moment, life seemed to move differently. Things started falling into place. It wasn't luck, it was alignment. That calm state was your real frequency, clean, stable, magnetic. The real work is learning to live there, not just visit occasionally. To make that state your home rather than your holiday. To build such deep trust in your signal that you don't crumble the moment results don't appear on your schedule. Because manifestation doesn't obey your clock. It obeys your frequency, and frequency stabilizes through trust, not panic. Here's something most people misunderstand: detachment is not the same as not caring. Detachment is freedom from the grasping energy that pushes what you want further away. When you're attached, your signal is noisy. It's full of tension, expectation, and fear of loss. But when you're detached, your signal becomes clear. You know it's already yours. You're not trying to grip it into existence. You're letting the field do what it's designed to do. That's why some people seem to manifest without even trying. They've unconsciously mastered detachment. They know, even without words, that what's aligned will come. They move through the world with quiet certainty. And the universe responds to that certainty like a perfectly tuned instrument. If you want to see how powerful this is, think about the last time something came to you unexpectedly, something you weren't obsessing over. Maybe it was a message, an opportunity, a chance meeting. You didn't chase it. You didn't grip it. It just appeared. That's not randomness, that's resonance. The moment your signal became quiet and clear, the field reflected it back effortlessly. This is why forcing and grasping always backfire. When you're gripping too tightly, you're screaming, "I don't have it," with every energetic breath, and the field mirrors that lack. But when you relax, when you embody the certainty of having, everything changes. That's when the quantum field begins to feel less like an opponent to outsmart and more like a dance partner. You move, it moves. You breathe, it breathes. But embodiment is built, not borrowed. You can't fake it long term. The universe doesn't listen to your mask, it listens to your core. So the deeper work is peeling away everything that isn't the frequency you want to live in. That means confronting old beliefs, outdated stories, emotional residue you've carried for years. It means asking yourself hard questions. Where am I holding on to lack? Where am I trying to prove something instead of simply being it? Where have I confused effort with worthiness? When you bring these shadows into awareness, they lose their grip. And as they dissolve, your signal becomes clearer. You're no longer broadcasting doubt while trying to speak abundance. You're no longer transmitting fear while whispering love. You become aligned, congruent, and congruence is irresistible to the field. It's also important to understand that quantum manifestation isn't just about getting things. It's about evolving who you are, because when you become the version of yourself who naturally lives in the reality you desire, the external outcomes are inevitable. They're not rewards, they're reflections. If your signal says, "I am safe," Reality brings experiences that match safety. If your signal says, I am loved, love shows up in unexpected forms. If your signal says, I am enough, the world starts reflecting back opportunities that confirm it. This is why people who do the deep inner work often find their external life changing in ways they couldn't have planned. Because the field isn't responding to their wish list, it's responding to their state. The more they embody their desired state, the more reality rushes to meet them there. And here's the ultimate truth. You were never trying to manifest something outside of you. You were always trying to remember the frequency that's already inside of you. You were never waiting for the universe to approve your dreams. The universe was waiting for you to stop doubting your signal. Everything shifts when you stop chasing the outcome and start living the frequency. It's not about asking when it will come. It's about knowing it already has. When that knowing lives in your bones, the quantum field bends effortlessly, doors open without struggle, opportunities arrive without demand. Life stops feeling like an uphill climb and starts flowing like a river that was always moving in your favor. This is the simple truth that changes everything. You are not separate from the field. You are not sending signals to something out there. You are the field. Every breath, every thought, every emotional vibration is the field experiencing itself through you. And the moment you claim that truth, not as a belief but as a living reality, you stop begging the universe to give, and you start co-creating from within it. The power isn't in trying harder. The power is in becoming clearer. And when you become clear, you stop chasing miracles and start realizing you are the miracle. You stop hoping reality will finally meet you, and you start standing as the version of yourself who reality can't help but mirror. This is where quantum manifestation becomes effortless. Not because life will be free of contrast or challenge, but because you'll finally understand the dance. You'll stop pushing against the current and start moving with it. You'll stop fighting for alignment and start living as alignment. And in that quiet, steady certainty, everything begins to unfold.